All right, today we're going to dig into an investor's take on Resolve AI, and this one's a real head-scratcher. It's a story about market noise, some potentially huge news that got overlooked, and a catalyst that could be just around the corner. So, let's just jump right into the central mystery.
And this is the big question, isn't it? You've got Wall Street analysts, people whose job it is to value companies, saying this thing should be worth over $9. But then you look at the market and it's trading at a fraction of that. How can that be? What is going on here?
I mean, just look at the size of that gap. It's what really caught this investor's eye. The average analyst target is sitting up there at over $9, and one firm, Maxim Group, thinks it's worth $15. But the stock's down here below $3. When you see a disconnect that massive, you've got to figure something's up.
Okay, so to start untangling this, we first have to figure out what pushed the stock down so hard recently. And it turns out the problem wasn't really about Resolve at all. It was more of a storm that hit the entire industry.
And this is absolutely crucial to understand. The pressure that crushed Resolve stock, it didn't come from any bad news about the company. Nope. This was an external thing, an industry-wide headwind that just kind of blew through the whole AI sector.
So here's what happened. It was like a domino effect. The tech giant Oracle came out with some pretty disappointing earnings, and that just soured the mood for the entire AI space. When that happens, the negative sentiment, it tends to hit the smaller, less-known companies like Resolve the hardest.
The investor we're following, well, he puts it just like this. He sees all that fallout from Oracle as a temporary, almost knee-jerk reaction from the market. It's not some deep, fundamental problem with AI or with companies like Resolve.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. While the whole market was freaking out about that big picture macro news, something else happened. Something that, according to our source, almost nobody noticed.
And this is the piece of evidence right here. It's a post from the social media site StockTwits, and it's announcing a pretty big new deal involving Shopify. But wait a minute, what does this have to do with Resolve?
Well, you see, the company that made the announcement, Crown Peak, is a digital quality management firm. And as it happens, they were just recently acquired by Resolve AI. So yeah, this news is directly tied to Resolve's business.
And we're not talking about small potatoes here. The potential impact is huge. Now, the source can't put an exact number on it, but his estimate is that a deal with a platform as big as Shopify could be worth tens of millions of dollars a year in revenue. A huge piece of news that just got totally drowned out by all the market noise.
And all of this brings us to the next chapter in the story, what this investor believes is the single most important event coming up on the horizon.
Okay, so at some point this month, the exact day is a mystery, Resolve is expected to release its updated guidance for 2025 annual recurring revenue, or ARR. The key word here is imminent, and this is where the plot really thickens.
So here's why that's such a big deal. The company's current guidance is for $150 million. But based on how they've been doing lately, our source believes the new number is going to be way higher, potentially hitting $180 million or maybe even more.
So you see the information gap here? The theory is that most of the big money, the institutional investors, they aren't expecting any news until the company's official report, way out in March. They might not even have this December announcement on their radar at all.
And that brings us to the short sellers. You know, the folks who are betting that the stock price is going to go down. And look at this. That bet has more than doubled recently. Short interest has jumped all the way from 5.5% up to 12.5%.
This quote just perfectly captures the whole idea. The belief is that the short sellers, who are maybe thinking they've got clear sailing until March, are completely unaware that this major positive catalyst could drop any day now and catch them totally off guard.
Okay, so let's put all the pieces of this puzzle together. Let's wrap this up and lay out the full investor thesis on Resolve AI.
It really comes down to 4 key ideas. First, the stock looks cheap right now, but it's because of broad market fear, not because of a problem with the company. Second, there's this really positive news about a Shopify deal that the market seems to have completely missed. Third, there's a huge catalyst coming any day now, an updated guidance that's expected to be a big beat. And finally, you've got a lot of short sellers who could be in a very dangerous spot if that good news hits.
And that's what it all leads to. This one final question. When you add up the overlooked Shopify news and the potential for a surprise guidance announcement, you just have to ask, is the market so focused on all the short-term noise that it's completely missing the bigger picture for Resolve AI? That right there is the core of the thesis we've explored today.